Lucky Libra. Something in your chest already knows today is different, a friend's message that lands strangely, or a partner's silence that feels heavier than usual. Libra, this is a day when withdrawing looks like distance, but might actually be preparation. What if the very impulse to pull back is the same energy that could quietly upgrade your closest relationship by tonight? Stay with me, because the way you handle the next few hours may determine whether people read your silence as rejection or respect. The bigger picture. Here is what is actually happening above you today. From the Western tropical lens, the moon is moving through Virgo in your restful, private 12th house, the part of your chart connected to solitude, processing, and unfinished emotional business. That moon forms a quincunx to Saturn sitting in your 7th house of partnership, the house of commitments and promises made to another person. Quincunx is an awkward, adjustment-demanding angle. It does not destroy anything, but it asks you to reconcile two needs that do not naturally speak the same language: your need to retreat and someone else's need for clarity. In Vedic or sidereal tradition, because the zodiac is calculated roughly 24 degrees differently, that same moon often reads as sitting in Leo rather than Virgo, landing instead in your 11th house of friendships, communities, and social circles. This is genuinely useful because it means two respected systems are looking at the same sky and finding two connected truths. Western astrology says look inward toward one significant relationship. Vedic astrology says look outward toward your wider circle of friends and collectives. Put together, they are describing one story from two angles. This is a day when your need for space touches both the people closest to you and the wider social world around you. Meanwhile, a broader pattern has been building through August 2026, a series of aspects activating that same friendship sector, the kind of alignment astrologers describe as a sequence with a beginning, middle, and end, like a film still playing out. Te is not the climax. It is a meaningful scene inside it. That combination, inward retreat colliding with outward connection, is exactly why today might feel like two different pulls at once. Love here is where it gets personal. If you are partnered, you may notice yourself wanting to disappear a little today, not because anything is wrong, but because the Virgo moon is asking for quiet and Saturn is asking you to still show up for someone's schedule. That tension creates a very specific trap. You go quiet because asking for space out loud feels rude or inconvenient, and then the very silence you chose to avoid conflict accidentally creates it. Your partner reads the pause as distance. You meant it as self-care. Here is the unanswered question worth carrying with you for the next few minutes. Is the person in your life actually upset with you, or are they simply reacting to an absence they do not understand? Often, it is the second one. This is where naming things directly does more work than any grand gesture could. A short message, "I need a quiet hour, can we talk tonight instead?" protects the relationship far better than vanishing and hoping they will understand. Saturn rewards structure, even small structure. A defined pause is easy to respect. A mysterious one invites suspicion. If you are single, this same energy plays out differently. The Vedic view of the moon lighting up your friendship sector suggests today favors quieter forms of connection, a conversation inside your existing circle, rather than chasing something new. Someone already inside your orbit may reveal a different side of themselves if you are paying attention instead of performing for the room. Career, that instinct to observe rather than perform does not disappear when you clock in. The same Virgo moon that once rest at home also sharpens something useful at work. Your attention to body language, tone, and the things people do not say directly. You might notice a colleague's manner shifting slightly during a meeting, a hesitation before someone agrees to something. Do not dismiss that read as paranoia. Right now, your intuitive awareness is doing real analytical work, even when it feels like distraction. One Vedic tradition source frames today's energy as encouraging methodical revision rather than bold new moves. If a plan is not lining up with your goals, the answer is not to abandon it, but to adjust the schedule around it. That is a gentler, more realistic version of ambition than forcing a breakthrough on a day built for reflection. If a project feels stuck, the block may not be the plan itself. It may simply be that you are trying to sprint through a phase the chart is asking you to walk through slowly. There is a quiet gift hidden in this pace. Careful observation today, even if it feels unproductive, can feed a creative project later with insight you would not have gathered by pushing forward blindly. Money, that same theme, patience, revealing value that speed would miss, extends directly into your finances. Multiple threads today point toward financial matters looking more promising than they have felt recently, provided you take action on things you have been putting off rather than waiting for perfect timing. An outstanding bill, an overdue conversation about shared expenses, a decision about savings, these respond better to a methodical review today than to sudden decisiveness. This is also a day to be selective about whose financial advice you absorb. Friends may offer opinions with good intentions that do not actually match your specific situation. Weigh input from your own circle against your own numbers, not against how confident someone sounds. Health, here is the part worth paying closest attention to. What looks like fatigue or low motivation today may not be tiredness at all. It may be your chart's version of a scheduled maintenance window. The 12th house governs the kind of rest that is not lazy, it is restorative. Unfinished emotional processing, your mind has been quietly running in the background. If you have been feeling low-grade drained without an obvious cause, this is likely why. The practical response is not forcing productivity, it is adjusting your sleep routine and giving your nervous system the recovery it has been asking for. A slightly earlier night, a slower morning, or an afternoon spent reading, rather than socializing, can shift your entire emotional tone by evening. On the subject of remedies, some Vedic practitioners may suggest color or ritual-based practices tied to today's planetary influences. Wearing green is one such general recommendation associated with luck in some traditions. This kind of color-based suggestion is considered safe for general use. However, any deeper remedy involving specific gemstones would require analysis of your individual birth chart, including planetary placement and dignity. That is not something a general daily reading can responsibly prescribe, and it is not universal advice for every Libra. Home and family. At home, the instinct to nest rather than socialize is worth honoring rather than fighting. If you can slip away early today, trade an obligation for the sofa, a good book, or unstructured quiet. You are not being antisocial. You are following exactly what this moon placement supports. Family members or roommates may not immediately understand the shift in your energy, which loops back to the same lesson from earlier. A short, clear explanation prevents the same misreading that could happen in a romantic relationship. I need a quiet evening lands very differently than silence that gets discovered later. Travel and spirit. If your schedule allows any flexibility today, this is not the ideal day to push toward long journeys or ambitious travel plans. Several threads in today's reading lean towards staying local, staying grounded, staying near familiar comforts rather than unfamiliar logistics. If travel is unavoidable, treat it as an observation exercise rather than a performance. Notice your own reactions to delays, crowds, or small frictions. That noticing is itself the spiritual work today is offering. Mindfulness less as a practice you schedule, and more as a lens you apply to an ordinary day already in motion. Picture it like standing at a quiet window during a storm outside. You are not required to go out into it. You are allowed to simply watch, learn something from the shape of the weather, and let that understanding change how you move once it passes. Lucky signs, today's supportive color leans toward green, worn simply as a personal color association rather than a formal remedy. The window between 4:30 and 6 in the evening carries a slightly more favorable charge for important conversations or decisions, according to Vedic daily calculations. Energetically, you will likely find more ease with people who give you room to think before responding, rather than those who demand instant answers. Tay's guidance: if there is one thread running under everything today, it is this: your quiet is not the problem. The mystery around your quiet is. Whether it is a partner, colleague, a friend, or your own body asking for rest, the same solution keeps appearing. Name what you need before you disappear into it. A defined pause earns trust. An unexplained one invites doubt. That is the real shift. You do not need to choose between connection and rest today. You need to be honest about which one you are stepping into and for how long. Handle that one thing well, and the friendship and partnership story this month has been quietly writing may turn out to be a far better film than it first appeared.